No, man.
All right, you know what, guys, let's get going. It's 10:04. Let's start the meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. We're going to kind of try to follow the agenda pretty closely. We're breaking this meeting into two different sections. We're going to do our part first at 10 here, and at 11 we're going to have Matt and Susan on, and then we are also going to have the dean on to just say hello to us. So the first part of this meeting we're going to devote to talking about our potential participation on this new Saluki Village, and then we'll have a discussion. We'll do some explanation. We'll have some questions, and hopefully fill you in a little bit more on what we know, and then that might give us the ability then when Matt and Susan come on and see what they say to ask more intelligent questions and find out information that we are not aware of, that we have not discussed. So we'll start out with the new Saluki Village, and then later we have some motions that we want to present to the group that we would like approval on, so that the Finance and Housing Committee can move forward with certain things to give us some authority when discussing this with Housing and Matt and Susan to move forward with. So that's kind of the thought of where we're going to head with this. And,
for all of our virtual participants, can you hear Rick fine? Yes? Great.
Yes.
And Rick,
Can you guys hear us?
Yes,
yes,
well.
perfect. And Rick Hyatt is our Sergeant at Arms, and he is going to keep this meeting moving. I am not good at that, as the 3-hour meeting was proven. So we're gonna try to move this along as much as possible. So we are gonna also skip the introductions if it's okay with everybody for time's sake, because I think we're gonna have a lot of questions regarding Saluki Village, and I'd rather dive right into that. Does that sound okay?
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna put one of these in front of me here, and we're gonna kind of discuss it a little bit, what we know, and prepare us for what might come with Susan and Matt. We've asked them to prepare some questions, some answers to some questions, but we may have more, so we want to get our questions in order. So, to give you a brief recap on where we are, I know some of us have discussed this last night over some drinks and nausea, but we will, for everybody's sake, we'll kind of go over it from the beginning. So, and Greg, you know much more about the exact situation with SIU and these bonds and what's going on. So I'm going to give some generalization. I don't understand it 100%, so if you could make some clarity to that. So SIU has secured some P3, what's it called?
Public-private partnership, P3.
And they've secured some money to the tune of, I don't know, $95 million or whatever it is to do this. I can't remember the exact amount, to build some buildings on Old Greek Road. And the buildings that they're gonna start with are two 4-story freshman, sophomore dorms, and about 900 beds, something like that. And then the other part of Greek Row will be special interest housing, which is what they're calling Greek housing. And depending on how many Greeks go there, they'll also include other types of organizations, buildings for them if they want to live there. So if all of you have the pamphlet that I handed out, the first page shows the phases that they're going to go through for demolition. You'll see the red is then part 1, and the black letters 1 through 6 is part 2. I'm sorry. Yes, that's the demolition. And then if you look on the bottom of that page, that's a kind of a snapshot of what they envision special interest housing or Greek Row will look like, the pillared buildings. And they're looking at, right now, I've got blueprints for a 15-bed house and a 19-bed house. Those are the two choices right now. I don't know if there's gonna be a lesser amount than 15 at this point, because Matt has only given me those two blueprints. But that is,
Rick?
Yes?
One of the emails you sent out with this has plans for 12, 16, and 20 bed houses.
Yes, those have changed. So
Okay.
So what's changed is they started out with 12, 16, and 20, and then they realized they want to put RAs in each of the houses. So a resident advisor is going to take up a room. Well, the room that the RA is going to take up was a 2-bed room, so it brought a 20-person house down to 18, and then I think they realized, well, we don't want to charge SIU for 2 spots because everything's being charged by bed. So they've redesigned the blueprint to have the RA in that same spot, but call it 1 bed, and then make 19 beds for AGR. Say if we took the house, it would be 19 beds for AGR and 1 bed for the RA. Same with the 15. It's going to be a 16-bed house, RA occupying 1 of the rooms, and if we took that house, it would be 15 beds for AGR.
It'd be
So
18 and 1. 18 beds plus the RA.
it would be 19 now. It's now 19 beds for AGR and 1 for the RA. That's the way they changed. They just changed that.
Well, they're calling them a 19-man house.
Yeah, but that's 19 man.
That includes the
That-
RA.
That includes the RA.
Well, that's not what they said. They let's look at count the rooms, I guess. So a 19-bed house, you got a single, a single.
18 and then there's the grand. Yeah.
Oh, they changed it to an 18 and a grad?
Right.
Did you counted those?
Yes.
That works.
Okay, so I guess the grad suite is still taking up 2 spaces, but they're counting as 1, and then they're still billing as 18. Okay, so it's went from a 20 to a 19, so 18 still for AGR, and then the other one is gonna be, 15 bed would be 14 in 1 grad. Okay, all right. So that's the latest prints that we've got, and we have some dimensions on that, but we don't have room dimensions, but we have some overall dimensions. So on the second page, you see the description of where group house, the special interest housing, and where the new freshman and sophomore dorms are going to be. That is this the orange showing the first phase for the dorms and the first phase for the special interest Greek housing. So they're looking to build 6 houses for the Greeks to start with, and it'll be a mixture of sizes. And we are told that we will get to choose the number of room houses that we want, but we must fill the house. It will have to be 100% occupied, or we pay the rent regardless. No different than Freeman Street, basically.
Or 116, we still had a flat.
We still had a flat. Yeah, the only difference between 116 and this is SIU owns the building, maintains the building. We don't pay any maintenance or have any of that cost. And we don't deal with the rental of the rooms at all. It all goes through the bursar office. So we will, we're taken out of the picture at that time.
So the contract is individual with the university?
With the university. So we are not in the middle of that at all. And, the way that works is, you know, if they don't pay the rent, then SIU goes after them, they don't get their transcripts, they don't graduate, if they don't pay their bills, which is an advantage, I think, from where we are right now, especially with what we've gone through with some. So that's the way that the houses are going to be rented, the rooms are gonna be rented. And they'll be rented at different costs for a single room versus a double. And we've been told the average cost of a room is, if you look on the cost page at the very back, and this is, at the time, the only facts we have, and we're told that it will be proportionate with the other size houses, but basically the example we got is a 12-person house. So they're saying that if you look at the top, our current monthly rent at Freeman Street with utilities that we are charging the guys is $610 per month. That's what we're charging to live there right now per month. And that's for 9 months, so it's $610 times 9. SIU residence halls, Thompson Point and whatnot, is the next column down, and this is the rent that SIU charges students, and I've broken it down by month so that we can make a comparison to what the guys are paying currently per month. And SIU also includes utilities in their rent and Wi-Fi. So that $610 is utilities and rent we charge currently. And then this is what SIU is charging for Thompson Point, say, for single and double rooms. So what we are told now with this new special interest housing is because of IRS rules, they cannot secure tax exempt bonds for Greek housing. So the cost to build the Greek houses is going to cost more, so they're going to charge more upfront to live in the Greek houses. The way they're gonna get around that and help lower the cost to renting those rooms is by setting up an AGR endowment account with the foundation, and all the money that we could raise and they will help us raise for this endowment will go into an AGR account. And then my examples are, if we are able to raise $1 million in this account, 4% a year, which is the average interest they're anticipating from the account, will be used to decrease the cost per bed for each of the guys that live in the house. So if we raise $1 million in this endowment, it will bring, so the first one is the cost, my first comparison is the cost of a 12-person house with no endowment. They're gonna charge basically $1,300 per month, and that breaks out to $13,000 per year, which breaks down to a single bed is $14,000 and a double would be $12,500, which averages out to $13,000 a year. So that's their cost for this new house. So I took those and extrapolated it out to per month so we could try to compare apples to apples what we know for what we're charging now and what Thompson Point is charging now. So with nothing, if we do no endowment, they're going to be paying $1,556 a month for a single room, and Thompson Point is $1,181. So what's that? Another
$400.
$400 more a month for this new house with no endowment. If we are able to raise $1 million and put it in an endowment, what they are going to do is take that $40,000 and knock off $40,000 off the cost to rent the house per year. And in doing that, it would bring the cost to the guys down to a single room would be $1185, which is right, almost exactly what it costs for a single room in Thompson Point. So every dollar we raise above $1 million then lowers it even more than that. So if, you know, I showed down here at the very bottom, if we were able to raise $2 million, that brings it down to $648 per month, and we're charging $610 per month now. So I know that's a lot of money to raise for an endowment, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of what kind of significant impact that will have to the guys that are living in the house.
Does that include meals? I mean,
No, so good question, Dewey. So this is rent costs, rent and utilities. This is all I'm trying to bring to light now because our guys do not have a meal plan now. So I didn't want to confuse the situation by putting a meal plan in these figures. But in saying that, SIU will require all freshmen and sophomores to have a meal plan, and a meal plan is an additional $500 per month. So our guys do not have a meal plan now. They cook their own or go out or whatever. Now, Chuck Schaub broke this out for us, and if you think about this realistically, $500 a month, if you were to eat 3 meals a day for 9 months, it broke out to about $6 a meal, you said.
Less than $6.
So, if you eat 3 meals a day, it's really not a bad deal, $500 a month. But, I mean, that adds to this cost. I mean, this is all gonna go through the bursar account. They're gonna pay, they're gonna pay by, I think it's semester. I broke it down by months so we could talk apples to apples based on what they're doing now. But technically, it's per semester, I believe, isn't that how it goes? Yeah. So there's a large amount of money on the table here if we can't raise enough money to bring the cost down.
Is the endowment money that we raised, is that our money?
It
so
is
down the road we decide
Yes.
we're out, we can take that endowment money and go do something else.
That's right. Now, yes, but you can't never touch the principal. So that $1 million is in an account just like it is in AGR's account, AGR National. If we were to put do a housing account with AGR National and we put $1 million in there, we have free reign over that interest per year. But you can't touch that principal, and that's the same with this. That $1 million would be there, but if we ever left that $1 million is still AGR's, and maybe Rick can explain this. I don't know what you'd ever do with that $1 million. I think it's SIU's money. Is that the way it works? Or?
When you have an endowment, it stays in the endowment.
Correct.
But the income off of the endowment, we can take wherever we go.
But you can
If
never
we-
close the endowment to get the money out.
No.
Okay.
it's not dissimilar to every community development foundation in the state of Illinois or Iowa. Once that dollar goes in there, you can have the interest, and in extreme case, you can have a percentage, but it's basically an endowment. Once it's there, it's there.
I think one of the other key parts of this that we were told is that the university is looking to require all freshmen and sophomores to live in university housing.
Right.
And given that fact, we could never support a house off campus like we are now. I mean, if there's no sophomores that can live in that house,
Right.
I don't know what we do.
Right. Because right now, the new group that's coming into the house are almost all sophomores that are going to be renting our house on Freeman Street now. And if that was the case, we would not be able to fill that house on Freeman Street right now. So the thought of trying to build a house with those rules off campus after 2000, I don't even know when they're going to start that, if it's next year or 2027.
27 school year.
22, so that's the other important point of this. This is moving so fast right now. They are talking about move-in date for Greeks and these dorms August of 2027. They want us to have our buy-in by September 18th of this year. That September 18th date, now they've given us cookie cutter blueprints of houses that they plan on building, because those houses were built on other universities. I don't think, was it Kentucky?
So the P3 is a company by the name of RISE, R-I-S-E, and to Rick's observation, they've built similar things in UT Knoxville, Appalachian State, LSU, Georgia, University of Georgia at Athens. So they've been doing this for 25 years, this company, building this kind of stuff that you're looking at.
So we're being asked to move this along rapidly, and that's hence why Matt and Susan are coming on today. They want to make sure that they answer questions that we that are in the knowledge of this so far have not thought of, that bring it to you guys so that we have all of our questions ready. Yes, Jay?
Rick, you're the Rick, finance person. You donate X number of dollars into the foundation. Like I said, you could never get it back. But that is tax deductible money, right?
Yes.
To us, yes.
Yeah, to us. And if it comes from other sources, like, I mean, there's ways that you can save even more off of that.
Yeah,
Considerably.
the big picture here, that your money now is money that will not depreciate, will not go away, and will not have to refurbish that house in 20 years. Your money is dollar for dollar, there always. Yes, you made a gift, no, you can't get it back, but the income from that benefits the chapter wherever we go.
But it is fully tax deductible though. That's the-
100% fully tax deductible, yeah.
Will the amount of return remain, 4% or more, or can it go down and up?
It will move.
It will move, so it,
Not big time, but it will move.
And they're using 4% as their
right.
guesstimate.
Go with the market, whatever the market is.
It's just like your pension.
Yeah.
For some years, the price
Yeah.
that we
It can
give
go up, it can go down,
might be
it can go up.
not as good a cost share.
Right. And so the thought here is also, just so we're all on the same page, we will get the advantage of that interest based on what is in the account when they move in 2027. So if people give a large sum up front, that'll be available for interest directly. If people give over 5 years, it'll only be what's in the account to take advantage of as of August of 2027. Now that account, if you do over 5 years, will eventually grow, and people give over 5 years, but depending on, if we don't raise $1 million because people are giving over 5 years, you'll get the advantage of what's in there at the time we move in, but eventually we'll take full advantage of that if we reach that $1 million mark.
And then also, if it turns around, we're not gonna use that interest, so they could roll that back in the endowment, so the endowment in the first year or two. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so we'll actually have, let's say we have a 5-year plan of donating money, we'll actually have the first 2 years that it's not being used.
Right, so that interest, that $40,000 can roll back into that
Correct.
endowment, so if
Yes.
there's 40,000, say we got 200,000 in there, now you got 240,000.
Right.
Rolling in.
Correct.
Just like, it works just like your pensions.
We got 208,000.
Yeah, you won't have the 40 to get them to $1 million, but
Yeah,
we know what you
yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Math was not my major.
Yes, Kevin.
Not to change the subject off the interest, good discussion. What is the guarantee or contract life on the housing rate?
On the housing rate, so it will fluctuate with university housing. We've been,
My concern is 2-3 years from now, it goes up 30%.
well, and that's a good question. That's a good question for Matt and Susan.
Yeah, we need to cap it somehow.
We
At least we need to do something to try to cap it.
And that's a big question too, is we don't know what our lease term for residing in the house will be. I mean, it's not technically a lease, we don't lease it from the university, but we want some type of a land right, I don't know, what would you even call it, a lease or whatever. So we need something that's gonna be there, but what Matt and Susan have said so far is based on, you know, they will give us something and then probably it'll be a renewal, automatic renewal for X amount of years unless you cancel it or something like that. So that has to be worked out yet. We don't know what that is yet.
That's my concern, I say we're on a fixed income with our endowment, 4% or whatever it's gonna be. The variable, which we can't control, is that housing rate.
Right, and if you go on university, I mean, if you look back on what the university has done in the past, there's been increases, like for 2 years before this year, it's not gone up. They kept the rent the same. But, you know, they are talking about it'll go up some, but it's not a large amount. I can't remember what they said it was gonna be, but.
But if they base our rate off of university housing,
This will go up in proportion.
as long as it's the same,
Yep.
Right.
and then at least
Yep.
they can't stick it to us and
No.
not to the whole
Yep.
population.
And the big game changer, which I wasn't aware of till a few minutes ago, the requirement of fresh and softs that have to live in university housing.
Correct, and they're doing that specifically so they can fill these houses.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's, yes.
Thinking back when we entered SIU, wasn't it a requirement that freshmen and sophomores had to live in university housing?
Freshmen only.
Unless you were commuters.
I don't remember, I knew
It
freshmen,
was,
I don't remember.
when we started in school, that's absolutely true.
That's what I thought.
But they
Greg, was
relinquished that a few years
that-
later,
Well,
but.
when
That was
I came
one
in
of
as
the
a
rules
junior, it was
back
freshmen only were
20 years
required. Sophomores could get an easy waiver.
I got a question.
And if you're a
as far as-
commuter, you
if
got a
they
waiver.
require the meal plan also,
Yes,
is the cook then a university employee that's working in our kitchen?
no, we have no I mean, we have no commerce kitchen, we have no full kitchen. They have to go to Thompson Point to eat at this point. So, that's a good question. So, meal plans, they're not building a commissary in this new development at this point.
They're gonna have 1,000 kids in that area and with no cafeteria?
That's what we said. They said Thompson Point is
Underutilized.
so they're going to make everybody, for now, go there. But they're gonna shut one of the towers down, and those students will be in these new houses. And so they're gonna make, the utilization of Thompson Point fully utilized by doing this. What they did say was they will look at that if they ever go to this other phase, where they're gonna build 2 more 4-story dorms where our house used to be, right by that little lake. They're talking about 2 more dorms there, and if they do that, then they would have to put something in this area. But they said they will have a snack facility for this complex where students can go and get something to drink, a sandwich, something snack, you know, some kind of snacks, but not a full meal kitchen.
Rick, I want to go back with 2 points that were made earlier. First of all, your question about the money that is in the endowment. Now, true with AGR, the one we have now, and with the one we have at SIU, if we have a large expenditure that qualifies for scholarship, charitable, you know, those things that qualify, we can pull out some money out of the endowment. So that has to be a special situation that fits the regulation on IRS. Okay? So that's just a little caveat to that question. The second thing that was asked about leases. This is uncharted territory. And what we would like to do is somehow get a commitment from the university that we are leasing this house long-term. What long-term is, we don't know, but as long as we can get it. Now understand, the leases for the rooms are with the student and the university. And the students are gonna lease change every 4 years, maybe more often than that, like a 2-year student. So that lease is going to be with the student, not with us. But we wanna somehow get an agreement for that house to be our house for a long period of time. So you can see the hybrid in that we don't have negotiated. So I wanted to clarify that.
And I think
We
to
had-
follow up
did
with,
we-
to
Did we
follow
not
up,
have an agreement when we got kicked out of 116 the first time?
We were leasing the house from the university as alumni, and we were then leasing to the students in the house. This is different.
maybe to
If we
follow,
had a guarantee that they sent us out the first time, why would we take any sort of lease a second time around and have the same thing happen 10 years from now?
We didn't have a written long-term lease
no,
with
we did not,
116.
we did not.
So that's where the long-term lease comes in.
Al, your point?
Yeah, what I was gonna say, following up with that, is that, and I know this is, we're gonna hear this, because I've heard it from Matt already. You know, from our point of view, we wanna have long-term commitment for that particular house. From the university's point of view, their comeback to that is, well, so who's going to fulfill the financial commitment for that house if for some reason your organization gets either in trouble with the national or you know, guys screw up and have trouble in the university, can't fill the house or whatever, who's gonna pay that? So there's gonna be there's two sides to this, and again, I've heard this from Matt already, is one of the reasons that they're hesitant of giving us a long-term commitment in that house is, are we gonna be able to fill the financial commitment if for whatever reason there's nobody in that house? And so, again, I'm not trying to say one side or the other. I know what our point of view is, I sort of understand what their point of view is, so somehow or another, we've gotta meet in the middle and figure out how we're gonna make this satisfactory for both of us.
So Al, if they just released the house to somebody else.
That's true, but again, I know that that's why, you know, they're reluctant to do, or I shouldn't say reluctant. Their question is, if we lease it to you or we have a long-term commitment to you, for whatever reason, you can't fulfill a commitment, what are we gonna do?
Nick,
If
you
we
had
raise
your
an
hand up.
endowment
Nick,
of $2 million, that should be enough of a commitment.
say that again, Riley.
If we raise $2 million and give them an endowment of $2 million, that should be enough of a commitment.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
so the endowment follows the student.
yeah, but it's identified to us, and I get what you're saying, but it doesn't work that way. Nick, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I'm kinda late to the game on some of this, but very, very interesting, because it seems like the way they're setting it up, AGR in the chapter is completely out of the equation, right? If all the rent, the lease goes between SIU and the student, we're kind of out of this. So that's kind of my curiosity, I think, what you're getting at, like, how do we tie the chapter back into this agreement? And I would find it unlikely that SIU is gonna set something up for us unless the chapter has an agreement with them as well. If we don't fill the beds, then the alumni are gonna pay that extra rent, right? If the rent's gonna stay the same, it's gotta be paid no matter what. Who's gonna make that up if we don't have extra people in the house? Unless they say they're gonna put whoever they want in that house to fill that bed.
Well, the answer to that is, their pro forma is saying that this will be 95% occupied, and so that revenue is coming in to satisfy those bondholders so that they can pay the bonds. And if we have 15 men in a 19 house, they will have the ability to put somebody in our house that is not an AGR, because they have an obligation to make that commitment. So that's either that, or our chapter would have to ante up to pay for those rooms as though there was somebody in there. So your point is, we have to negotiate this, and that's one of the motions that we're gonna ask you for, is to give that authority. You know that we're pretty hard and pretty stiff on this, but we need to have a smaller body negotiating how this comes out. Your point's well taken, Nick.
And I just wanna point out, right now, our chapter has not filled the house our house currently at Freeman Street in the last 2 or 3 years, and they have to, whoever's not living in the house has to make up that difference and pay for those rooms. So that's the way it's working right now. The chapter is still paying for that house even though they don't have a full house.
I think we have a track record as far as history. For 39 years, we were in 116. And we didn't default there any year that I remember, And so we have a track history of being good tenants. So I just wanted to put that out there. For 39 years, up until 2008, I mean, we did a good job. And I think we can go forward and do another good job.
Absolutely, Mike. We've got a great track record of filling the house and doing it. I think we do it in the future. The problem comes, this is a P3. This is a whole new, Rise did not get frickin' rich by not covering their own requirements and the bonds that are held. So we're gonna have to negotiate with the university based on our track record, based on what we can do, and based on the endowment that we have in order to get that commitment. I think it can be done. I've seen P3s, this is new for universities, P3s. It used to be toll roads. Every toll road was a P3. Every water treatment plant was a P3. So this can be done. We have to negotiate. We're probably gonna have to ask to talk to a RISE representative where it's all over with and explain our track record and what we wanna do and so on. But I think it can be done.
So you're gonna hear Kupek say that RISE is gonna be part of this negotiation that Rick was talking about.
They're not gonna roll over for anybody.
No, they don't roll.
These guys are big guys.
Just so everybody knows, in the last 10 years, our chapter average for actives was 35. We dipped down to 20 members in 2 years of the last 10. The average was 35. So over the last 10 years, if our chapter's constitution and bylaws require the house to be filled and the executive council has to live there and which is the movement that they're moving to, technically there should not be a problem unless there's some drastic change but the recruitment, in my mind, should increase because of this new house. I'm thinking. Here, Rick,
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Taj?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Speak up, a little louder.
I had to call back in. I was called in on the cell number, and you guys, I couldn't get off mute, so now I'm on Zoom. Lots of comments, questions. Are you still there?
Yeah,
Yes.
keep going.
Okay. So I'm not against this, but guys, we got to go into this completely wide open and not forget the past. 116 was not remodeled, not repaired. They wanted us to continue to put our own money into it. We're going into a long-term lease situation. That's great, but we need a buyout option. This is, I've said before, and I'll say again, I believe this is the best chancellor and combination of chancellor and foundation president that we've had in 30 years. There's no guarantee they're here next year or in 3, 5, or certainly in 10. We don't want to be in the same situation we were in with 116. As the way this deal stands to me, I do not like that we're going to be automatically more expensive than the dorms, and they're tying us into raising the money for the foundation to have to offset that. They're tying us in, guys. Go into it with looking at all sides of it. And if you raise $1 million to offset the rent where it needs to be, that's $1 million that we raised in the foundation. No, it's not wasted, but it's not $1 million for a house that we can own and control ourselves, which has been the dream of this organization for at least 20, if not 30 years. There's a lot of questions in this. Lastly, I'll say, we've been talking about this with the university for a year, 18 months, and now all of a sudden they need an answer within 2 months. That's bullshit. They can wait, and we can negotiate with them. Don't let them force our hand, because if they do, then I am not in favor of going back on the university property whatsoever.
I'm just gonna say something because I'm on the foundation board. Attached to that observation, it is fast, but the cost of the P3 goes up more than $5 million if it's not executable for school year 27 versus school year 28. So that's why the speed is important on this.
I'm sure that's true, but we've been talking about this for 2 years. We were told we were gonna get to have 116 as a location. That didn't happen. We were told that having a 99-year lease for property was on the table. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying I'm against this, but they've done a 180 on what they told us they would do. And I don't trust them that they won't do a 180 on anything else that they tell us unless we have it in writing and signed on the dotted line.
Okay, Paul, go.
Previous to this, they didn't have a P3 locked in. This was all through the university only. Now you got a P3 locked in. This is a whole different player. This is like the bank and the guy owning your lease on your farm. This is a whole new deal, and it's gonna move faster, substantially faster. Anytime you get a P3 involved, whether it's an apartment building for underprivileged housing or a road or whatever, the contracts go really fast. That being said, we've had a dream of a house for 50 years, a building our own house, and so far we've had 2 epic failures that cost us a lot of money. If you want, and if they're not gonna let freshmen and sophomores in the future, this is the, if you want to just lock up the shop and close down, split up the paddles amongst us, we go the way we're going. If you want to be around for another 20, 30 years, we need to work with the university, because basically they're our education branch. They're the ones that we go to class with.
Okay, we'll take one more comment here.
And Paul, I appreciate what you're saying, and I also appreciate that committee that helped look at the house that we were trying to create a year or 2 ago. And the whole presentation, everything, it was wonderful. The thing that I was looking at the layout, the plan of this house, is that it looks more like university is trying to develop student housing with smaller groups. But as I look at this, where is the chapter house part? Where is us coming there to meet the actives and the camaraderie at a meeting space and something that says, hey, this is Alpha Gamma Rho. And I guess in this layout, you know, I like the idea of university, but I also would like to have, I guess I was looking at the 19-bed level 2. Okay.
Level 1. Go to level 1. There's a chapter.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So perhaps I haven't seen the whole layout of the house yet.
Yes, those are 2-story, and the chapter room is in layer 1.
Okay.
Level 1, layer 1.
I just want to kind of just.
Yes.
I want this to be a place that we continue our memories and try to have a group place, and this is important to us in establishing a chapter.
And they do have an office, and they do have a chapter room in there, but Kevin,
refresh me, how many are the current students at the AGR house, freshmen and sophomore?
I believe there's 27 right now.
So the comments about being off campus 2 years from now, that's a death knell right there.
Well, that's the big key in this.
Yeah.
Well, this is the big key.
That's a big key. The other thing
It's,
is,
it's a key, but you're letting them dictate again. Yeah, that may be reality, but it's not reality yet.
our current house, if mom and dad come down with Junior and looking at housing, heard it a lot of times, so that current house, we really don't care for the neighborhood. Will that change the demographics of our recruitment? Coming in to see a brand new house and a brand new facility, will that change the group of new students coming in that are looking either for cheap housing or a nice place for their son to live?
I believe it will.
Adam Lokert has his hand up, probably to respond to that.
I'm gonna take a step back and go viability. It seems like this could become a millstone. what's the viability of the university right now? They've had some financial difficulties. What's the viability of the ag school? I know these are uncomfortable questions, but those are some of the basics that if we don't have a sound university, if we don't have a sound ag school, then this is a Hail Mary pass by the university to try to get some other buy-in, some other financial commitments to help them out.
Well, let me answer that from what limited knowledge I know. Number one, you've got a brand new ag dean on board, dynamic, great person, will be a mover shaker. Number two, you've got funding now for the greenhouse, which was a major problem for a long time. The last time I had a conversation or in a meeting that we had, they're also looking at future ag school build out, new ag school. The enrollment is up. They have concentrated on Southern Illinois and developed a lot of rapport with a lot of the junior colleges that are down there, and more of those students are coming in, and we're just seeing more and more and more growing and happening, slow pace, but it is coming. And we have had the largest gifts in the last couple of years given to the university, i.e. the Welcome Center, and there was one in the library.
Law school.
Yeah, med school.
Law
school, excuse me. There are just all kinds of stuff coming. So while I've got the floor here, we've got to pay attention to a little bit of time. This is a great conversation. I'm looking at my watch. Matt and Susan are going to be with us in about 10 minutes. I do not anticipate that discussion lasting more than 30 minutes because we've had the ability to talk about a lot here, and we'll have them on, and Matt will be making a presentation ahead of time, I'm sure. We do have about 6 motions that we need to have here today, and I don't want to cram those in now in 10 minutes. Where'd my partner go? Let's make sure that about 12:30 we get to the motion area, which will have some discussions. We have to have those motions to move forward. So if that's okay, that'll be our game plan going forward. We'll continue to talk until Matt and Susan, but at 12:30, I want to address our motions, okay?
DJ, I want to do real quick on your question about future. Also, SIU was named to an R1 research status, which is an elite class of universities. So that means you've got more than $50 million of research, that you have more than 50 doctoral students or more than 100 doctoral students. So very few universities in the country have an R1 status. We're only one, us and the University of Illinois, public universities, are the only 2 now.
I wanted to get that on the record so that everybody could hear that and understood that we are on sound footing today, okay, compared to where we were a few years ago.
One last thing, the 2030 plan projects that SIU will be at 15,000 students at 2030. So that states that the enrollment growth will continue.
Yeah.
Real quickly, I just texted a former student of mine, goes to K-State, and I said, "What's your housing and meal plan?" I just compare apples and oranges, 1428. So we're not. That's not too far.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure how we compared with.
My case, I know it's still college, these aren't out of line.
I just want to point out, I know we're seeing some opposition to this today, but what we haven't heard are the options if we don't go with the university plan here. So we need to ask that question, what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna go? What are we gonna do if we don't stay with the university plan here? I want everybody to think about this. We can't even raise $2 million, I don't think, to build our own house right now. That's gonna be difficult. On top of that, you gotta get people to live there and pay for taxes. Real estate taxes in that area are sky high. They have to pay for our own insurance, building insurance and liability insurance. And you can ask Al, that's gone sky high. Very out of range for us. Utilities, electricity, gas, water, those are all gonna be our bill now. On top of that, you got maintenance. We got other fees, national dues, those are all gonna be piled onto our guys. And also to make it even more challenging, we're gonna have to ask juniors and seniors to pay for it because under the new university plan, freshmen and sophomore are going to have to live on campus. So that leaves us with only juniors and seniors to pay all these bills.
That'll kill it. That'll kill it.
It'll kill us. The house will be dead. We will not have anybody to live in our house because we're gonna be twice the price of what the university wants. Just something to think about.
Very good point.
Okay, we got, on the screen,
Adam.
Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so about a month ago, I was speaking with a member from the Ohio State, that's the original AGR chapter, and he mentioned that they've got quite a few qualms. They did some renovations. Their chapter owes about $100,000 or more in debt to their alumni, and they've got a fight with the university the whole time. Now they're the original AGR chapter, and they're still dealing with problems with the university. So I think the problem is not how are we going to get everything perfect? Well, I don't think we're going to get everything perfect. I think what we really need to think about is the university wants to give us a spot on campus, and we want a spot on campus. How do we connect those two things together? Now is the time to do that. So I think the most important thing that we should be speaking about is what are we going to negotiate in order to get as many of our needs met as we can. The things that come to mind for me are, one, I think it would be extremely valuable to have our rent increases, because they will want to increase the rent on a schedule. Something like, if they increased it 1% every 2 years, that way we can track that, and it's not just on whatever they need to increase it at whatever time. And the other thing that I think of is access to the house during the summer and during breaks. Currently in the dorms, you are not allowed to access the house during Thanksgiving break, winter break, spring break, or over the summer. If this is a university house and our members cannot get in the house during the summer or during those breaks, that's a red flag to me. So those are a few things that I have in mind. I think the negotiations are very important. Thank you for allowing me to get my input in here.
I have a quick question for Adam, is what do you think, you've been in charge of recruitment and whatever, what impact do you think a house similar to what they're proposing is going to be for recruitment and parents and so on and so forth?
I think it would be huge. It would be just the key piece to get people to move in the house. When we've got a beautiful brand new building, the newest building in Carbondale, you can really sway a lot of people and a lot of people's parents when you're given a house tour. That's what is really the key of the fraternity, is getting people to move right into the house as a freshman. I think that would be tremendous for not just our recruitment, but our retention. If you look at our chapter statistics right now, one of the worst ways that we are is with retention. We lose members within 2 years. We don't have a lot of 4-year members. So I think that would be a key for that. And the other thing I think is, so we've got an executive council of 9 members. Let's be conservative and say only 6 of them want to live in the house. So if there's 18 spots, that leaves 12 empty spots. Well, now we've got freshmen and sophomores who have to live in the house. That gives us 6 freshmen and 6 sophomores. If you say those rooms are filled, that means you have to fill 3 rooms every semester. Or if you just want to do the year, 6 rooms a year. That doesn't seem as challenging to fill the house if you were recruiting straight into the house every single time. That's kind of the mindset that I've been thinking of it on.
Okay, we're about 2 minutes out. I want to bring up something that has not come up yet. This is kind of, call it a Rick Hyatt thing if you want to. We were at 116 for 50 plus years, and we never had water in that basement. As long as you had the electricity on, everything was working, pumps were working, everything was working. We had our chapter room. We remodeled that basement, and we were down there all the time. So this thing about water in the basement, which is coming from the architect, that's bullshit. So I'm all in to a basement in this house. We may have to put some money in to do that if they would allow us to. But when you think about the design that they have come up with that you're looking at, you're looking at a house that is configured because of the way this whole thing has to fit together. There may be some things that we can talk about and negotiate that can put our chapter room, our activities room, where we can have things on the wall and space for a lot more people. And also, let's face it, you can have a mess. Look at the house we got right now and look at the mess that is around that house. If you can contain it in a basement, that's going to give the university a great look, and that's going to give our house a great look and a great presence. So I'm kind of working on that with Matt, and Matt's on right now. Hi, Matt.
As is Susan.
So, Susan's on too.
Didn't mean for you to come into that conversation, but hi, Susan. Hi, Matt. All right, you're on.
Welcome, welcome.
You're muted, Matt. You're muted.
I'm gonna call you Rick Baseman Hyatt. I gotta know, Rick, where do you stand on this issue?
In the basement.
Hey, Matt, I think it would be appropriate for you, not everybody in here knows you and Susan directly like we have. Maybe introduce yourself, tell you, I mean, you're the driver behind this thing, and just kind of take it from here and tell us what you'd like to tell us.
Yeah, thanks. It's great. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for having Susan and me join the call. Susan, is our dean on the call?
I am here, but my sound is really messed up, so I'm going to reboot real quick and come right back in. So I'll be right.
Hey, Susan, how about the dean? Did we get her the invite?
The dean is coming, yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so my name is Matt Kupek. I've met a great many of you. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Development and Alumni Relations at SIU. I'm also serve as the CEO of the SIU Foundation. I've been here about 6 years, and we are very, very excited about the project. We're going to talk to you today, and particularly the role the foundation has as foundation raises money for the university. The foundation serves as an accelerator for our great university, and this is a project that's we'll run through. It's moving along pretty fast for the university. We're talking about warp speed, which is amazingly good. There's been a great desire to do something with Old Greek Row, and in many ways restore it to the great brand days of yesteryear. Conversation started with you all and Susan when you were looking at buying a house. I think it was on Mill Street, I believe. University has great interest in bringing our students back to campus. And as you were looking at that, Susan and I said, God, let's think together about bringing AGR back to campus. So that started our journey. We were moving along and thinking very much about building a house that you all would raise the money for. We would work out some kind of agreement with the university through the foundation to be on the site of where Schumann Hall is today. But in the meantime, this initiative that we're going to talk to you about, it was on a conversation February 11th, part of our Saluki Takeover Tour, engaging alumni in Florida, where the chancellor and I, with an alum, who's got a very interesting story. This alum, and if I'm going too long, Rick, I apologize, but I hope you'll bear it. It's okay.
No, you're all right.
This is an alum. It's cool. This cool Saluki success story. So this alum, first of all, it came here under the Achieve program. There's only 2 in America. I had some learning disabilities, and he'd be the first to tell you about those. But came here, may have not gone to college, but came here, was in school, living with 3 others, I think, in a dorm room. It was crowded. Went home and came up with the idea of loft furniture for dorm rooms. came back to school the next year. I think he was a junior. He sold 250 of those loft units to students on campus. And then he graduated, started a company, it's called Loft Company. And now he's worked and built furniture for 2,000 universities in America. So he knows his stuff about this and rooms and what have you, efficiencies. But it's pretty cool. One of our own, and another one of many. Many of you have the same kind of stories. But it was that conversation, the idea about, he asked us how many students are living off campus. And there's a lot. And in fact, about 1,000 sophomores move off campus from their freshman year to the sophomore year. So we thought about how do we bring them back on campus. So we started, I'm giving you way probably more than you want to hear. But it's, sorry, that was my computer, I was having IT problems. We started with the idea of building 4-story dorms, 2 of them. Outside, many of you may remember where Wren Hall is in Wam. There's a grassy field right there. They came back and said, okay, phase 1, and it's going to be under an initiative called a P3. It's a public-private partnership. What it is, it's you bring in a 501c3 to serve as an intermediary. In this case, it's a revenue bond issue. You're going to use the contract revenue from housing to offset the expense. And by doing it this way, the debt stays off the university's books, and it's becoming more and more popular. LSU's on their 4th phase, Tennessee's on their 4th phase. But that was phase 1. Phase 1B was to build additional housing, or this 2 4-story, and Greek life. They had 11 houses, and we will call those right now special interest homes, and I'll go through that. And we fell in love with 1B at Old Greek Row because we've been hearing from not only you but from others in Greek life about the real interest in restoring an enhanced Greek community. 6% of our students now are participating in Greek life. We think with what we're going to talk about, we can double that. You all experienced the value of that association, participation, engagement. So we fast-tracked this and said, okay, let's make phase 1B phase 1A. To do that required the demolition of 13 buildings. I think Schumann Hall would be one of them. Now, Rick, 6 are flooded. And I know you're going to tell me yours never flooded when you were there, but we're pumping out water like crazy. So we are. The plan is to and if Susan, are you back on?
She's not, Matt.
Well, then I'm gonna go through a quick PowerPoint if you don't mind. I think it can help tell the story in pictures better than you listening to my words. And this is something that I presented to Jeff Bergen, to the Chancellor's Cabinet. And I apologize, I have some up-to-date slides, but my VPN is not allowing me to, is not working. So this is about a week or so, a couple weeks old, but I think a lot of the stuff. So the P3, this is, I mentioned it, basically how it would work. And we're talking about building 890 new student beds in two 4-story dorms, a community center that will serve as a meeting space for meetings, for kind of parties. There'll be some food options in there. And then as you said, I talked about special interest homes. Just again, if we build fraternity and sorority houses, you cannot do tax exempt bonds. So that's going to have to be considered in the equation of the cost here. But just so for the purpose, and a lot of these P3s do not include Greek life housing. It's primarily just dormitories. But anyway, we felt and heard you and said, no, we think, and that we do this as an opportunity to kick this off on the bottom. You're going to see there are a number of factors in here. We are gonna require first live on campus the first 2 years going forward. Freshmen and sophomore will live on campus. I'm told we did that up to about 17 years ago at SIU. I don't know if any of you remember that. For some reason, we went away from that. All our competition is doing that now. Studies show with retention, numbers improve when you have that, and other types of things. For sure, we believe it's going to help in recruiting. Prospective students are looking for new dorms and what have you. Many are looking for the quality of Greek life and Greek life housing. So this was so important that to meet the beauty of this, we're talking about construction and a grand opening in August of 27. So 2 years from today, we'll have this incredible, for now, we're calling it From the Ashes of Greek Row, Old Greek Row Will Rise, the new Saluki Village. But to accelerate this, the SIU Foundation is providing a bridge loan of $3.8 million that's going to allow the construction, demolition of the first 6 buildings. And I'll show you a slide in that. And again, in its role, and if this project does not go through, we're going to show you a slide. We got to get approved by the Board of Trustees. We're going to talk about that timeline. The foundation basically will have torn down 6 buildings for $3.8 million. It's amazing the cost of demolition. It's amazing the cost of abatement. And this is, we think, our only chance to tear down those old condemned buildings and replace it with incredible new vibrant village. Thinking about 1,000 students living there. I think maybe in the heyday of the 13, if we had 40 or 50 in a house, do the math, that's about 500 students. And to think about how cool this would be to have 1,000 students living on that community of Old Greek Row. So here's Old Greek Row, 17 acres. Phase 1 has already begun, and then, sorry, it came in fast, phase 2. And these things are shooting in, flying in fast. That's abatement's going on right now. And that's an ugly building that gets even uglier with that garbage on top. But, these are unfortunately boarded up buildings. They have great memories. I mean, they served a great purpose. Can only think about the vibrancy out there. So in many ways, we're not throwing out the history. We're building on what was there to make it even better going forward for our students and for all those of you returning to campus throughout the years, for certain alumni events and what have you. But so phase 1 is beginning. These will go down. These buildings will be down by September 15th. Again, whether or not this approved or anything else, if for some reason it doesn't go forward, those buildings are gone. The maroon, numbers would be part, we're going to do a bond offering that will be offered in December. And again, the proceeds from that we go to do the final construction and demolition. So that's the way it would look. Over here, you'll see this is Schumann. This is where you all know, and then dear to your heart. Phase 2 has additional, it would have housing there. So we're saying right now that Schumann would have to move the old site, AGR would have to be, and you'll see in a second where these are the area we're looking for the site of the 11 new Greek homes. Here it is right here with that fancy transition. On the right, you can see these are 2 4-story dorms. And this would be more of a traditional 4-story dorm. The second building will accommodate more living, learning communities where we're thinking that even if a house of an AGR house has maybe beds for 19, that perhaps, and the way we're building this, that the remaining of the brothers, if choose to, could live together in this building. But that's the way it's being configured. Not all homes are going to be able to build a house. They don't have the capacity. They don't have the passion of their alums. But we want to accommodate not the haves and have-nots, but we can make sure that all will have a chance to live in some kind of community sense. This would be the community building I mentioned earlier, just for activity and for meetings. The darkened buildings would be the original 6 special interest homes. And clearly you guys are the first, we're having serious conversations. Again, credit to you all because you're thinking about building a new building, and we've had these conversations going on for a year and a half. Certainly what that means, think of a new development. You go in there, you guys will have the opportunity, and I talked to the Chantry about this again yesterday, you guys would have the choice to pick whatever spot you would have. Again, it wouldn't be Old Schumann. I did use the example the other night, whether it was good or not, that I grew up in New York and Yankee Stadium, where the house that Ruth built, they built a new Yankee Stadium, but they had to build it right next door to it. But the new Yankee Stadium is more beautiful and has created incredible memories, and I think even Babe Ruth would be proud of it. So, but that's and these just whitest things would be for phase 2 special interest housing right there. So let me continue on just a few more slides. This is again, we're in the very early design. But it's going to have to be accelerated design. These would be the 4-story. In one of these buildings, this one, there'd be entrances, so you could for smaller type fraternities or sororities. But that kind of community space, community living, we think they're just spectacular looking building. Even more spectacular than that. This again would be some renderings. The architect, the developer we've had. This is an example of some university, and again, these are we're in the point of A, information here, but B, negotiation. But we wanted to have that real look and feel. In many ways, I feel like I'm either at the University of Alabama, University of Oklahoma, University of North Carolina. This should be Southern Illinois University. In my mind, that's a thing of beauty we're looking at right now. And again, with certain design, but this is why we have a chance right now to design and negotiate. And the thought right now on the 6 is that you have a chance you can get in, and we can do a deal, whatever the deal is, but I'll call it a deal. Where you can customize it, or else we might, if we don't get commitments on the 6, we may make it more like, I hate to use this term spec housing, but they're beautiful spec houses. But the beauty of our timing right now is you have the chance to talk about things like basements, to talk about things like chapter rooms. I just talked to Jeff Bergen on the phone. He sent out a series, some of you all may have just got an email from him. We're having a series of meetings with all members, all Greek organizations, to make sure that they have an opportunity to engage and customize. Quickly, this is the schedule. It's fast for a university. This is really fast. We're excited to announce on August 6th, we're going to have the demolition party, where not of the first 6 buildings, the first 2, we hope you can take a sledgehammer and hammer away. We will have food trucks, we will have music. We just think it's a pretty cool thing. Again, not that we're eliminating the history of Old Greek Row, but on the shoulders of that, we're going to build a really cool new Saluki village going forward. Big day here circled though is the Board of Trustees meeting to make that August 27th completion dates. We are going to the board on September 18th. That's the Board of Trustees. At the 2 weeks ago, presented in front of them the idea for information. We got approval for demolition, but we're going to come. We thought we'd come back with the plans, close to construction plans as possible, and we're going to ask them for approval, so we can move this ahead. And then the real, the beginning construction would be on the dorm side. And then I think, I don't need that though. I was playing around with Chief Newman there. So that's, again, I had a couple of other slides. I can't get into my files, unfortunately, but I think Rick and I don't know if Greg's on this call and Chuck's on it, but I think that's the story. Susan, have you gotten back on yet? But yes, you
I am here.
want to add anything to that?
No, I just think it's an exciting time, and to be at this point already with demolition, I do. Matt didn't ask me to say this, he doesn't know I'm going to, but I want to thank Matt publicly because he has led the charge on this since the moment I went to him and said, can we please get them back on campus? And as you all know, we've had this discussion now for how many years at Founders Day asking this question, and to see it come this far, this fast, and the way that it's kind of coming together for you all to have this opportunity, it's beyond what I imagined I would be at before I retired. So it's exciting. It's very exciting. And I hope you all, I know there's a lot of details to work through, and I'm just going to ask, please be patient with us as Matt negotiates and serves as the middleman and helps get this to where we need to get the guys back on campus.
One last thing, if I can, just many of you are aware at the site of the old McAndrews Stadium, right now emerging from those ashes is the new Tedrick Welcome Center. And if you haven't been on campus in a while, it's right off 51. It is a spectacular front porch for our university, 44,000 square feet. I drive by it 4 times a day just to look at it, and that will house, because we at the foundation are in Collier Hall. We were told we had to get out because they were going to demolish, so the timing is perfect. But when you think about that building as a welcome center, and then on the other part of campus, we're going to have this hopefully new Saluki village. I think about, I think we might have some students on this call right now, current students, I believe. Yep, we do. Hey, Adam, hey, Adam, thinking about it. You guys went home in May. Hey, Braden, you guys went home in May. And you're going to come back, in a week or two as the exciting time of the year. I mean, there's nothing more magical than the start of a fall year on a college campus. But that beautiful Tedrick Center is going to almost be finished on the outside, a lot of work to do on the inside. And then to know that on the campus lake, because on August 6th, we're putting a fountain in that's going to, in the middle of that fountain, the University Campus Lake, which I believe only the University of Notre Dame is as pretty campus lake. There's going to be a fountain that's spitting water up about 30 feet in the air. That's good for algae. I'm learning something about that. But it's also at night, it's going to light up. The light up's going to be maroon. So when you guys have a big event, it's going to be cool. And then to think for our students coming back, think about it, Braden, think about it. Adam, think about this, that we can have some signs up. There'll be a demolition going on, and that from that where you drive by those condemned, boarded up buildings, there's going to be this spectacular rise of this village. How about that for a pretty cool summer? Isn't that good? So we're proud of that. And again, I want to give you guys a lot of credit, and I want to give Susan Graham a lot of credit, because if you guys, it wasn't your passion, talking about doing something, I've got pictures of Freeman, your house on Freeman Street right now, and sometimes I show that compared to those new beautiful pictures that we showed of the new Saluki, the new fraternity houses, and it's pretty, if not for your passion and if not for your commitment, I mean, certainly I don't want to misrepresent. There's not passion amongst other groups at all, but you guys should feel really good. And we will credit you all, because as Susan said, you've been a big driver in this. We said, trust us, believe in us. We're going to try to find a way. It may not be perfect at the end of the day, but I think it's going to be really, 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 really close. And I think it's going to really help drive our Greek life. Chancellor is 100% behind this. You all seen him in his fraternity sweater. He talks about what kids are looking for. The Greek life is an important thing for student recruitment. So, but let me stop there because I've talked too long.
I think Braden, Braden has his hand up.
Yes. Okay.
So, Braden, did you want to say something?
Yeah, if I may. It sounds to me kind of like if we get this jump started, and we're doing a good job of it now, it sounds like one thing leads to another in a way that a lot of our problems are going to be solved in this. So like recruitment, for example, if we can kind of jump on this and take advantage of the situation, our recruitment goes up, we fill the house, prices go down for each individual member, And that's not just for the Greek houses that we've discussed on this call, but also kind of what Matt was talking about with the fountain, the new welcome center, different buildings, stuff like that. Because at least in my opinion, I mean, the more students that come to SIU, the more students can get involved in Greek life. And we fill these new buildings and continue to grow. So that's all I got. Thank you.
I want to throw this open to some questions, Matt, because that's what we promised. We maybe got about 10 minutes, but I want to say something first. Gentlemen, we got about 45 brothers on here. This person that just made a presentation to us is the driver, shaker, mover of SIU. They stole him away from the foundation to put the academics or the athletic department back in shape, and he did that. He just built a new welcome center. He's had several other projects going on, and now through this gift, this P3 thing, he's putting new housing and a Greek row flat together. This gentleman is outstanding. And not only that, I want you to know that there were 32 university people on 2 Zoom calls that we've had, all controlling different parts of the university, housing, academics, everything. And Mr. Kupek has the chancellor of the SIU backing this 100%, and we've had him on every call. This is dynamic, and these people that we have paying attention to us and working with us, I've never heard of before. Matt, thanks a million. Can't thank you enough. And Susan, you're the driver that's keeping them all straight. Thank you. Let's go for some questions. We got a question back here, Tom.
I had the opportunity to see the Zoom call with the advisors recently, and one of the questions that came up, I was reading body language and I was trying to assess interest levels from the various Greek organizations. What feedback do you have so far from the Greek organizations and the advisors on their buy-in to this plan?
Yep, I will, I'm gonna tell you, this is, this is Jeff Bergen's email. This is the feedback he's gotten. He sent it, I would assume someone in this got this, because he told me somebody in AGR was getting this. The excitement for fraternity and sorority housing and community facilities is amazing. So he's getting great. So we're setting up a series of meetings to make sure this is going fast, and I will acknowledge that. Like we said, warp speed. So Tom, to that point, and I think according to what Jeff Bergen told me and said in an email, it has really, really, really been positive.
Thank you. Another question. Okay.
Hi, Matt, Susan, appreciate it. Matt, you just mentioned spec houses. What's the time frame on building out all 11 special interest houses? Is the university and foundation going to give it the years probably it's going to take to build and develop those? Or is it going to change somewhere along the line if they don't get enough interest?
Yeah, I think, yeah, Chuck, good point, good question. Now again, this whole plan is predicated on a 95% occupancy. So again, and there's some financial things that, we're gonna have to talk about, but if we built 19 beds for AGR, we need 19 heads in those beds. So, that's to Chuck's point then. So at this point, Chuck, again, and none of this is firmed up. And that's why we need to Tom's question as well. We need to get the interest. Who is really interested in doing this? Again, it doesn't have to be just fraternities and sororities. There can be other special interests. There's some other groups that said, hey, we could put, if you have 12 beds, we could put 12 people in there. So the idea, Chuck, again, is that get the interest right now. Who would be interested? Who would be able to support it? Because there's having those 19 beds in there comes with a cost, and that's a cost. If the cost to build special interest housing and the fees with it is higher than living in the 4-story dorms, I will tell you that. So this is where we have the ability to do some housing endowment, to offset that for our current students. We don't think there's going to be a lot of fraternities and sororities going to be doing that. So we're looking, Chuck, probably right now at customize, have these talks like with you all. You know, right now you have all mentioned some interest in 19 beds, but if we don't get, we might just build 12 bed special interest homes. We may build 15, we may be 19. So, but I will tell you, we're looking at this question came up the other night. Probably right now, I would say roughly by September 1, knowing if you're interested or not. And it's almost like you do, any of you who bought a house in a development. You know, I'm not saying you have to put earnest money or something like that, but we're gonna wanna know, because knowing that September 15th, approval of the trustees. So we're moving fast. You guys have a little more advantage than the others because we've had more conversations, but we're going to try to bring the others up to speed. So Chuck, that was a very long-winded of Wayne saying right now, I would say 215, 212, and 219, unless we get 5 others to say they want 19 as well.
Great.
So Matt, thank you for that presentation, and know that we appreciate your offer to meet about some of these things you talked about, space, chapter rooms, basement, those kind of things. But we've had some discussion this morning about the endowment and how it might work. You and Susan are experts on endowments because you have several within the foundation. Just for the comfort of our group, knowing that we're thinking about an endowment program at your recommendation for a housing offset, help us understand how that would act, not only initially, but if how AGR retains ownership of that and its use.
Correct. Great question. So again, the original idea is we were going to raise money to build the building, and that would be all from you all, and that would have built the building, and that was our first path, and there was a lot of challenges with that, and one of the biggest ones, could we raise that kind of money to build a building? And so when this thing came along, and the idea that we could put it on into this project, this P3 project, and I'm going to throw some numbers out here. I don't want you to hold me to that because we're still, we just got some good things on the construction, early preliminary construction costs. But let's say, as an example, to live in the dormitory would be $9,000 a year, $4,500 a semester. And again, these are numbers. But to live into a special interest home, that's going to cost more to build. Again, we can't do the tax exempt. Let's say that drives that cost to $13,000 per bed. So that's $9,000 compared to $13,000. What we're and that may be out of our students. We're trying to keep this housing pretty much in line with what we have, recognizing it's new housing. So the idea of the housing endowment is that, okay, we're not going to ask you to give money for construction. Now, recognizing that you won't own the building, but with a housing endowment, what we're suggesting, let's say you raise $1 million. That kicks off 4% interest a year, so that's about $80,000. That's what is that? That's $40,000 a year. Okay. If again, you're going to help me, my math, it's going to be confusing, but that 13,000 by 12 beds is about 156,000 a year. So with the housing income, you take the 40,000, subtract it from the 156, and I can't get, I wish I did it. That's about 140.
I got you. I can do it for you real quick.
14,000. You divide that by 12. That comes to about 9,500 a semester per a year for student. So it's very much close to what living in the high rise. So, and if we raise 2 million, now that's 80,000. Every student's gonna want it with that kind of, but it's so that offsets the cost of living in the home. And again, if the home is 19 and we have 40 in the fraternity, 21 might live in the high rise in a community right there, one of that building too. Again, that'd be for all you to consider. But so then the endowment would offset that, the cost of living that, you know, we're basically going to say to you, you're committing to $156,000 a year to help us meet this financial model. But the beauty of it, Greg, let's say, for instance, in 5 years, you guys say, you know what, I think we're going to go off campus. That endowment sticks with you forever. So that income you're getting, that's $80,000 if you get to $2 million. You can use that because the way we'll do the stipulations, you can use that. That will be yours forever. And the beauty of the way it's invested, that $2 million will continue to grow as a hedge against inflation. So eventually that 80 will become 100, that 100 will become 120, but that will forever be AGR's money, and we'll do the stipulations that you have the discretion to use it as you please. Whereas in a building, you would build and you would get a building that would immediately begin to depreciate, and in 50 years we could get to a situation like we have in Old Greek Row. But with the endowment, that's going to appreciate, and that's going to grow, and I think it's going to benefit AGR. It will benefit AGR in perpetuity.
Okay, let's take 2 more questions. Kevin?
Hey Rick, real quick, can I add to what Matt just said? 2 things. On the housing, on the AGR endowment, it will be housed in the college. It will not be housed with student services housing. It's going to stay in agricultural, life, and physical sciences so that it is more, I hate to use this word, but more protected for you all. The second thing is, when we raise the money, the raising funds for that account doesn't stop. So it can grow forever as well as people want to donate to it. So by the time Adam's an alum and he wants to give his $1 million, we'll be able to put that in that account just to continue growing it to help your students forever.
And all those gifts are 100% tax deductible, whereas the construction of the home, you know, we were still a lot of gray matter. I think we were go after the IRS a little, but this case, it's again, it's something that can continue to grow to be part of yours forever. Sorry, Rick, didn't mean to belabor it.
Kevin Miller, question for you, like on it's originally a 20 unit house. You embed an RA in there, so it's essentially 19, that would be 18 active members. In our day, we had the house mother. Will that RA be the house mother? What kind of authority will he have over the residents in that house?
Yeah, I believe significant, but I'm not, you know, I will tell you, I'm not a housing expert. Jeff Bergen could answer that better. But I think it would, like an RA does in a dorm. I think, you know, some of the problems that Rick was mentioning about, I think would help alleviate some of those issues. Again, Susan, you might be able to add more.
Yeah, I can answer that one a little bit better for you, Kevin. And I have not been, since I've been at the foundation, I've not been as involved in the housing and the RAs, but they have it set up so there's a whole reporting system for RAs. There are certain requirements, they go through training. The RA that would be housed in this building has another RA that they answer to, who then answers to the housing level. So they've built in this whole process of reporting and training. They have to report what goes on. They are required to make sure certain activities are done with the students, that they've had contact with each of the students. So there's a lot of responsibility put on an RA, but there is extensive oversight to that position as well. So I feel like it is much safer for your students and your members to be in this situation than where they are right now, where there is no oversight.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one question, Matt. What are some of the opportunities going to be in our negotiation process with ensuring a long-term agreement or understanding with the university that you know, things, if administration changes, if you retire, Susan retires, whatever, that our agreements just don't go out the window just because you're gone. So in this negotiation process, is there going to be a way that we can try and ensure our longevity in that facility?
Absolutely. Just talked to Jeff Bergen specifically about that, Al. Great question. I think we're very much open. We want to make sure you're there for 50 years. So yeah, and the good news, I just signed a 4-year contract. This will open in 2 years. So all those things are going to be signed, sealed, and delivered, whether I'm gone or not. But and the chancellor is signing a 4-year deal as well. So yes, those are great questions. And I will tell you, just in doing this P3 for the foundation, I am signing so many contracts right now, but we got to make sure every I is dotted, every T is crossed, and we will do that with this as well. But I think this is great input. I mentioned the other night, it's almost, I will tell you, let's say, and our students would never do this, let's say you guys did some really bad behavior type of things, and you were expelled or something. That would never happen with AGR. But the university, those are things we gotta, how would that be handled now? Good question. But these are things certainly, Bergen is wide open to it. The chancellor, I talked to him yesterday about the basement. I think the chancellor's on your side on the basement. But certainly we will negotiate all these, and you can help us because you're the ones that really, as I mentioned earlier, are the ones out in front. You've earned the right to kind of be the leaders. We look back on this. We're gonna praise AGR because you helped lift the Saluki Village. Because to Rick's point, he gave me a lot of credit and Susan credit, but without you, this thing would never be where it is.
Okay, we're gonna cut it off. We're gonna thank Matt and Susan. This is Saturday. You made a special effort to be with us, and we can't thank you enough. So you can sign off.
Okay. I want to apologize because Steve planned on being here, but I think there was some confusion with the time, and that's my fault. If I hadn't talked to Eric Luce yesterday, I probably would have had it wrong. But I do know she's excited to meet all of you, and I apologize she wasn't able to join us. But Matt can tell you, Greg can tell you, a few of you that have met her and been able to interact with her, she is amazing. So, and she supports this project 1,000%.
Okay.
Rock
Matt,
star.
Susan, thank you very much.
Hey, Rick, I want to do a shout out to our current students. What incredible representatives of AGR and the university. We're proud of them.
Yep.
Incredible. Thank you, guys.
All right. Perfect.
I thank you all. Let's go AGR. Let's build this thing.
Yeah.
Build.
You think that boy is a salesman?
Let me tell you, he's a mover and shaker, and this thing is going to happen. We just got to tweak it a little bit, right, Greg?
Rick Basement Hyatt.
Tell me the basement for storm shelter in the basement.
That's right. It's a safety issue, right? And it keeps the shit out of the yard.
The last meeting we had with him, he mentioned that he's gonna put together a meeting with us and Rice and developers and architects also. So we're still negotiating building features with this.
Let me just say one quick thing here. We talked about the university going out into the communities of Southern Illinois and also nationally throughout the United States. These chancellor scholarships are full ride that the foundation's giving out. The chancellor is going to local high schools, mostly around the Southern Illinois area, maybe some up in the central, and they bring all the students in, give these full ride awards. I know some people that their son was going to the University of Illinois, but when they got $100,000 and some full ride scholarship, said, no, son, you're going to SIU. And so we're getting more of the top students and getting more confidence within the area. And then whenever they made what they call it when they went to Florida, the
Saluki takeover.
yeah, Saluki takeover. They were all over. I was in Florida at the time, and the one down at
Naples.
Naples, yeah. I happened to be there, and one of our SIU alumni. It was a beautiful place. The golf course on the water there, a yacht club, and the whole bit. But there were a lot of alumni showed up to that, and, a lot of them moved to Florida, some were visiting, but, they made about 4 or 5 stops, and I asked the chancellor later, I said, how'd you do? He said, we did great. Recruited students, we raised money. So they're not just concert crowd, those guys are on the move, all of them. I mean, Dupac was there, the chancellor, I mean, anybody, and the president was there. So it was, they're serious, in my opinion.
Rick? Before we move on, one thing that was not brought up, and I just wanna do it real quick, is we will have naming rights of the house based on the endowment, based on how much is given. So $250,000, you get to name, or better, you get to name the house. And then there's levels where you can name bedrooms, and certain things, so they're giving us the right to do that. If we ever move out, the rights go away, and whoever else moves in there can rename it, but that's, I just wanted to bring that up.
What's the name of the basement?
The name of the basement will be, always be Hyatt Hall.
Hyatt Hole.
Hyatt Hole, yeah.
Hyatt Hole.
Hyatt Hole.
Can I just point out one thing? Just regarding the dean, I was at the SIU field day at Belleville, and I got to personally meet the dean. And I think this stuff on Saluki Village happened about, like this was on a Thursday, I met her, I think it happened about on a Tuesday. And I told her I was the AGR alumni and stuff, and she was just gleaming with what was gonna happen and how that's gonna affect the ag school. So I do admit she wasn't on today, but I wanted to say I did personally meet her, and she seems top notch.
All right, we need to be respectful to the ladies that are going to join us for lunch here, and we do have some official business to move forward with. So I'm going to go ahead and read the motion, please. If okay, Rick?
Yes.
So the first motion is to engage with SIU Housing on the selection of a 19-man special interest housing and give the Housing Finance Committee the authority to create and approve the design. Specifically, consideration to a basement, to a chapter room, to a lounge, house mother quarters, and a kitchen. Need a motion and a second in discussion.
So moved.
Second.
DJ and Al. Okay, discussion, go ahead.
So, to clarify, you specifically in the motion listed house mother quarters.
RA, house mother, you're right.
They can all be in there.
Whatever they're all on, we don't, right now.
Doesn't it include a library or no?
It does.
It does, okay. I'm all for it.
Eric, you raise a good point. I think in one of the conversations, they need to be a university employee. And I think we ought to try to find somebody who is more than just an RA,
Well,
personally.
that's where I was gonna go with this, is they're gonna want somebody that's got the right training and all that kind of stuff, but we need that person tied into our organization.
Yeah.
This gives us the ability, from a negotiation standpoint, I think we wanna be able to self-select that person.
Yeah.
That still goes through all that process that, for the legal pieces for the RA.
They didn't mention that, but they did mention it to some of us on one of the calls, that we will be involved in the interview process and approval of the RA.
Because if we have a member that's a grad student, that would be an obvious person.
Yep,
to do
it would.
that.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Okay, could we call for a vote?
Who's on the committee?
Okay, so the housing committee is myself, Chuck Schaub, Paul Merriman. On the finance committee, it's Al, Dale, Tom, and Dave. So that's the total, and myself. But
So the ask is to give
Can I
you
ask
the
you
authority, just hang on a second, the ask is for you to get the authority to negotiate.
yes, not make a,
Not make a decision, just to negotiate.
yeah, we would bring it back to the
Thank you.
board.
Thank you, Eric. That was my question. I'm all
Right.
for the motion as long
Yeah.
as any binding final decision would come back to the whole board.
Right, that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those say no? Okay. Motion number 2, to select the location to be building building B on the diagram, which is a house with space, comma, 2 road access, comma, and close to where we were with 116 small group. Now, when you saw Matt put that up there, and you look at the very
This
front
B.
page,
They're all B.
Those dark buildings are what
This
they're
B
planning.
here.
The building that is
Trying to
being
get that one.
suggested is the one that's closer to the two roads, which is labeled as Building B on their diagram.
They're all B.
They're all B.
They're all
So,
B. The big houses are all B.
All right.
Corner lot.
It's the corner lot.
across from
Hold on.
where we.
That's where the foundation is right now.
That's not true.
We're trying to get this one, if they'll allow us. If,
Oh, not to be in these.
well,
corridors.
we're trying to get that one.
Okay.
Because there's this, it's not part of this first phase. We're trying to get that as.
Is there a number? 11?
Like number 11.
That's just a motion to suggest.
It's,
we
it's,
attempt
look
to
on the next page.
Oh, okay.
So moved.
Front page.
It'd be number 11.
B, okay. All right.
Which one did?
Okay, yeah, number 11 in demolition then. Yes, we're trying to get number 11 in demolition.
All right, there's a motion made by DJ. Is there a second?
Second.
It'd be that one there.
Okay, can we for our virtual guys, make sure everybody understands what we're talking about here?
Yeah, 'cause I don't know that I.
This one here, right, Rick?
Okay, can you bring that closer? That's not close yet. Climb a little closer.
Well, this
Now-
is, I have to go to this one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking about
If you're right here on the new picture, the one I saw.
this one right down here, which is, if you look on the demolition scheme here,
Be number 11.
it would be number 11. And it's right across from our old house, and it's got the most area around it, and that's why we were looking at this one here.
But to be candid, that's not the current plan.
That's not the current plan. We're trying
Yeah.
to get that one, but if we can't, then we have to make a decision on this. So we might want to go with a second opinion based on these 6 if we can't get that one. That's the thought.
I think we need to consider here.
My question is, have we already started questioning with that? No, we really want this one that's in phase.
We did bring it up. Yes, we did bring that up. I guess you can't see my face. We did bring that up, and he said we would have to open a discussion on that, and see what happens. They couldn't give us an answer yet. We should probably.
My question is, so we are asking them to move what the building we want from second phase into first phase?
Yes.
Is that an understanding?
Yes, and I guess what we should do is, we should talk about if we don't get that right, then
Well-
what one of the first phase do we want to
Yeah.
choose?
Yeah,
We need a first and second choice.
Right.
we do.
TCAS.
But part of the, discussion of what house we go in may be tied to which one can have a basement, which one, is there a difference based on the layout and setup? Are they gonna put the 19s in one spot,
Well,
the
that's right,
15s
we
in
don't
another?
know the answers to all of
Yeah.
this yet.
So for us to say, well, I want that one, it's tough for me because I don't know.
Maybe we should just leave it up to the,
If you look at the space, the 19s should come around closer to the building. That's where your space is the greatest.
But we're just assuming that right now, though.
Yeah.
Well-
Get the actual count of what's.
So we're empowering the finance and housing committee. They know what the sentiment of the group is, so
let us
let them do that and bring it back.
negotiate
Yeah.
for the alumni.
Yeah.
But again, that's gonna be a final decision that we have to bring back.
For sure,
Yes.
for sure, yes.
Yeah, so we will, based on the facts that we get from the 2 committees, we will bring the actual our choices back to the group and say, we can have this one or this one. Does
So
that
we're
make-
asking for a first choice in the motion. Any further discussion?
Call the question.
Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no?
No.
Okay. Third motion. Motion that we delegate the finance committee and the housing committee to negotiate with the university on the lease details, keeping in mind a long-term 99-year lease, parentheses, longevity. A motion that to give the authority to those 2 committees to negotiate a long-term lease.
I have a question just for clarification on this.
Okay, Riley?
Are we just asking for a motion to negotiate again and not to make any commitments to anything?
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
everything was.
Well, we have to have an authority to do something.
So,
And that's what-
but the wording in the motion is pretty gray in, are we giving you the ability to negotiate, or?
To negotiate to bring it back to the board.
Let's put the question on the floor and then we can discuss, okay?
Yes.
So I'll move that so we can just,
Second.
You got a second?
now we can discuss.
All right. Go ahead.
No, when you give somebody the authority to negotiate, in some situations, they have the authority to
Make the
decision. And I am not giving my vote to make the decision, I'm giving my vote to negotiate, to bring
Okay.
back to us.
So what they will do in all these motions is they will bring you a package. And you'll have to vote on the package.
And the president and all the members on the board have got to be the approval group. Unless we get it fast enough that we can do it online like this, but, you know, people that you elected are the ones that are gonna make the final decision. Not the folks negotiating.
All right, so the basic question there in that motion is to negotiate a long-term lease, and as far as we can, and bring it back to you.
Rick,
Yes.
I move that we amend that motion to add the wording that they bring it back for final approval.
Is there a second for that?
Second. Second.
Taj,
Just so we're crystal clear that the committee doesn't make the final decision and that all the membership is aware that it's coming back.
Oh, I thought we were brothers. All right, all those in favor.
hold on,
of the
got a question
amendment?
over here. Dave Crosswhite's got a question.
Are there any dates we have to have this done by, or?
Well, they said September
18.
15.
September 1st.
Well, September 1st, they want an answer whether we're going in or
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, but by September 1st, we
This
need to
package-
have these questions answered
Yeah.
so that we can go
True.
forward.
The committees, both committees have until September 1st to get all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then bring it back to the board?
And then bring it back to the board, so the board has to vote before September 1st.
Yeah.
That's basically
Yeah.
what this is.
Before September 1st?
We have to give them an answer on September 1st.
Okay.
All right, so they're voting on the amendment, which is stated to bring it back to the membership for a vote. Final vote. All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed, no?
Aye.
Okay. Now, the motion is amended,
Keep
which
in mind,
would be
September 1 is Labor
to-
Day, it's actually a
Yeah.
federal holiday, they won't be open then.
to
True.
negotiate a long-term lease and to bring it back to the members for final vote. All those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Opposed, no? Okay. Last motion right now is a motion to
Hold on.
allow.
They got questions.
Who's got a question? Okay.
Just noise.
The fourth motion for this body is to allow the Education Foundation, meaning SIU Education Foundation, to continue to do fundraising for the Beta Alpha Endowment and provide back chapter scholarships. What that last thing that Matt talked about. So we want to further let them, the Education Foundation of SIU, Matt Kupak and Susan, continue to do the fundraising and to identify it as the Beta Alpha Endowment and provide that money, income off of that as a credit to chapter scholarships.
Chapter scholarships.
They call it scholarships.
Oh, okay.
But it's rent.
Okay, all right.
Oh. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
So we're gonna have them raise the money to offset the housing costs, and we don't know where we're in yet.
Right. But they are already in process.
Is this too soon?
It's a pledge, though. Is it a pledge, or is it?
No, they're talking about creating an account and starting it. That's what they want to do.
They're gonna collect money?
Yeah.
So they're gonna collect some money, and then if we decide this doesn't go,
You just made a gift to the endowment for AGR. We can use the scholarship.
I am not comfortable with this one until we get the answers from the committees, for the first two committees, the first two motions that we just did.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not saying I won't be comfortable with it, but I'm not comfortable with it right now. Absolutely not, I'm a nay.
Okay.
That's
It'd be
fair.
a little misleading to people if,
So you basically just held off any fundraising?
Well, they can still do pledges, right?
No.
Nope.
What? No?
We have to find out the answers of what we're dealing with. We owe the membership to know a crystal clear plan. There are too many questions right now of what this plan is to say that we're going to our membership asking for money. We failed on South 51. We failed on other. We can't fail again. I'm not saying I won't make the motion to move forward with this in 2 months, but I can't do it today in good conscience.
This motion, is there a deadline at September 1, September 15th? Can we stall for a month and a half? Would that cause a big problem?
Probably not.
Probably not.
In 1978, when I was an actor, the alumni board would come to us and say, someday we're gonna be kicked off 116. And we didn't start fundraising then 50 years ago. And here's where we sit now. Now we need $2 million, and we haven't been fundraising for 50 years for a house. So I have no problem if, we gotta start somewhere. And if you're truly committed to having a house back on campus, let's start the fundraising.
I mean, I guess the option is this. We give them the authority to start fundraising and create the account. That doesn't mean, Ted, you have to give your money.
Exactly.
And that doesn't mean, Eric, you have to give your money. It doesn't mean anybody has to give their money, but we need to get the account created. We're giving them the authority to create the account and to start talking to alumni about the house. And then if those of you that don't want to give money yet until it's September 1st and we've all voted yes, that's an option. I'm just giving this as a thought process.
Can you pledge until September 1 or 15?
No, they're done pledging. They want the account.
You want a hard account.
They want an account and they want to start donating. They're trying to move this through really fast. So.
But you don't have to come up with all the money.
You don't have
I
to,
mean,
you
over
don't.
5 years or whatever.
Right,
so
you don't have to give
you're not
any
giving
money
them the
till
whole-
September 18th if you want, once it's go.
and that concept works great for the people in this room or on the call. But the people that may not be in the know, and somebody calls and says, hey, we're raising money for this endowment for the house, and
I would be happy to put out a.
There's some communication, I agree with you, that has to happen.
There's
my
a-
concern.
There's a communication thing
Yep.
that, I mean, I can send an email, a mass email
Which is
saying.
the vast majority of the alumni. The vast majority of our alumni don't have a clue what's going on.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
You're gonna
I,
make this decision based on 2 weeks worth of information.
well, I mean,
I don't change my opinion.
well, we've put out quite a bit of information already, I think. I mean, I don't think I've been hesitant about sharing information
No.
as I get it. So I have no problem taking these motions and putting it in an email and spelling it out exactly who's got what authority and when this has to be done. And we wanna get the account started, but we don't, until we get authority, from the board. If you don't wanna give, you don't have to give. I'm okay with however you wanna do that. We can be transparent with the alumni about that. But if we wait too much longer, it's gonna be harder to raise the money, if we don't start at some point.
This is a bullet point that Matt also wants to show the trustees. And that meeting is September 18th. So we've been the driving force behind this, and it's not gonna change from what we're doing. No, it's just a matter of giving them the authority to do the fundraisers, set up the endowment fund.
So he's gonna want to tell them, hey, I've got $500,000 committed right now. for
Right,
this group,
which
right?
I think we do have in excess of a
We have
$500,000
pledges
on
of
the
that
prior,
right now.
yep, yep.
We have pledges of that right now.
As long as that's made clear to the alumni that you can give money, or you could wait till September 15th and kind of make a pledge.
Absolutely, I will be as transparent.
That's good.
On that as we're
As long as
discussing
they're
now.
aware of it, they shouldn't have
The
to pay
one
for
thing
it.
that I would point out is Rick has been very transparent with the emails and the website and the letters and so on. That being said, if the alumni don't wanna open their damn email or look at the website, there's very little we can do to inform them.
So,
I was gonna say, the other thing that makes this difficult and really, an immediate type decision, knowing all of the things that we know about this, is that we're not gonna be able to get together in the next, as a group like this, between now and the middle of September. And so we have to make some decisions now, knowing that,
We're still meeting.
you know, there are some caveats to some of this stuff. And we've gotta be able to work, we've gotta trust each other, that some of this stuff, we don't know all the answers to, but we're not gonna go off willy-nilly, whatever it is we do.
Al, you said something very important. We have to trust our brothers that are in charge of this. I mean, hell, I'm one of the originals, and I've seen all this crap go through, but I think this is time to put the pedal to the metal.
Call the question.
And say one more thing, we've got 8 weeks roughly to negotiate all these points that we're trying to get. If we get it done quicker, we'll put that word out also, but we've got some time to work on this. And we're gonna need some time to work with the builders and get all these details put together. So if we get it quicker than 8 weeks, we'll let you know.
And I promise you, every meeting that we have, an email blast will go out with what happened and where we stand, so that everybody is informed every day. If I can take a video and post it, so you can watch it, I will do that. I will continue to be as transparent as I can with everything that we're about to do.
And we can also call you up on the phone.
Yeah.
Absolutely, anytime you want.
Fortunately or unfortunately, for those of us that like to think things out and plan things out, this entire P3 funding is a total switch.
Right.
It's a total different time frame. We're running out of days.
Yeah.
I mean, to be flat out, we're running out of days. And if we delay this question, I'm concerned that we will be out of time and not be able to have enough days to do the fundraising necessary. So, I'll call the question.
I need a motion first. Oh, I got a motion. Never mind.
You got a motion on the floor.
I can do it. So we're at, okay, you're calling the question. So all those in favor to allow the SIU Education Foundation to continue the fundraising for the Beta Alpha Endowment and providing that money back as scholarships or rent rebate to the chapter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no?
No.
No. 3, 4.
Aye.
I think the ayes have it. Motion passes. All right, Dave, would you discuss?
I'd like to call a roll call vote, please.
Oh, you gotta be shitting me. All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 are in favor. 23 here plus 3. I did, you got it. All those opposed, raise your hand.
Isn't this a board decision? I'm confused. But no, thank you.
No, it's a membership decision. We got a membership meeting. You got your hand up, Tad? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Motion passes. All right, Dave Crosswhite, the author and the guy that's been doing a lot of pen and ink stuff here, would you talk about the Education Foundation, its purposes, and why we need to get that started right now?
Okay, so this would be for AGR, our own 501c3, so that people that donate to alumni, that money could be used for scholarships. So when they're talking about the SIU Foundation, that money can go there, but it's going to be an endowment. If this went to our own 501c3, it doesn't have to be an endowment. It just could be restricted to whatever use. Let's say you donate $20,000 and you say, I want it towards a scholarship for John, okay? Guess what? John gets that money. It's restricted to John. You get a tax deduction. The other reason why we're trying to do this is that there's a group in IT called TechSoup that gives you discounted software. And so we could get our QuickBooks software for like 80% off, which helps in our, we could have less donations at that point. Because our expenses would be lower. So we want to move forward with the foundation so we can use fundraising and so forth for scholarships for this particular housing also, and to reduce our expenses. Any questions?
So just real quick, do we need to make a motion or anything, because you just discussed?
No, we need, he's just
We're gonna
presenting.
need motions on
so-
the
So,
board.
are you saying also this fundraising that we just did for the housing, all donations could have gone through this also?
You won't get your
No,
record.
it's not,
No,
housing is
I'm
a-
talking about his, if the alumni had this
If we had a
501,
foundation
if you started this 501c3.
10 years ago,
No, now, if we had it going right now,
Yeah.
and we wanted to do a fundraising for the house, like now that we had for the, so people that donated to this fundraising for the house.
you could donate through our foundation, but then we would have to donate it to either, it'd be restricted, okay?
That's what I'm saying.
So whatever the
That's-
funds are supposed to be for.
That's what I'm saying, if we wanted to restrict this to a building or to whatever, we could go through us in the future for individual donations.
I don't think we can do that.
Can't do that.
This housing is not, it's gotta be for scholarship.
Yeah.
So we
it
could
can't-
use it as scholarship exactly the same way that the foundation is.
Correct. For
But you
scholarship.
could never
It would be
use
called
it
a scholarship.
for repairs or house building or.
Yes.
Housing is separate.
No, you can't use it for maintenance or repairs.
Okay, so it's strictly
But
education or scholarship?
Yeah.
Okay,
It
so,
could be used exactly the same way that the endowment is
Okay.
using it
I
for
was
scholarship.
so, just to clarify, Dave, could we do, he was talking about raising $2 million. Could our foundation raise that $2 million? And we cannot subsidize the rent in the same way?
Nope.
Because we could get a higher interest rate or whatever.
Nope.
We
Well, my
cannot,
answer to that is probably.
we probably could.
Probably could.
It doesn't pass the IRS code for tax deduction.
I think you're gonna have to have a hell of a good attorney to make that work.
Well, but that was my question. If they're doing it, can we do it ourselves and rate higher returns and retain control of those funds?
well, the thing with them is it goes straight through SIU and the bursar account to lower,
Lower the rate.
there's one less chance. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's just say it would depend on how it was structured.
exactly.
So that's why I say probably. So it probably could, depending on the structure. Let's say, for instance, I'm not an endowment kind of guy, okay? I don't really want to give my money to the SIU Foundation because I'm not an endowment kind of guy. It's a perpetual money that you're giving them. And I would rather give the money to our foundation and say, hey, I want this to be used to build a library, you know, or something like that, or something educational. But that's perfectly legal.
Agreed. Library, educational, that's not
books,
maintenance, that's not,
Better
Reducing
internet
rent.
connection, computers, all that's acceptable.
Yeah.
But when it comes to maintenance or house rent or anything to do with the physical structure, you can't do that.
Okay, but here's the thing, okay, they are given scholarships. We can also give scholarships.
Right.
I could just say, well, you know, it's gonna be hard for you to pay this fee, okay, that you're getting from SIU.
Yes.
So we're gonna give you a $5,000 scholarship, and guess what, it's gonna come from that fund.
Yeah.
It's just calling it a scholarship.
scholarship.
Is it true the IRS does not recognize fraternities as tax exempt?
That's true. This is not a fraternity, this is the educational foundation of Alpha Gamma Rho.
But we could do that the same with the SIU money that we give to the foundation, we could
If
pull
we
money out
don't
of
have
that.
a foundation, and that's what we're trying to do here, you can't do it. We are trying to get a foundation that accepts tax exempt money, just like the SIU Educational Foundation. And we're going through and we're doing bylaws and we're doing charters and we wanna be a corporation. If they give us the 501c3, we still have to obey the rules of the IRS.
And if you give all the money as a scholarship,
That's exactly what they're doing. That's what SIU Foundation is doing. They're just calling it a scholarship.
The way I see this is I see this as being the extra edge to do things that maybe we cannot do in the endowment.
That's right.
Which is to buy computers, to provide a scholarship, to do extra build-out stuff in a library.
That's a good point.
To do things like that we could have a little more flexibility with it, but you still have to follow the rules. It's gotta be for charity, or it's gotta be for scholarship, education, those kind of things.
And see, I think this is
So-
a great idea from the standpoint of recruitment. Say we raise another $1 million for this, we could say, okay, if you're acceptable AGR, we'll give you, $40,000 worth of tuition and books would be acceptable under this.
So we're providing opportunities is what we're doing. But I wanna say that if we don't focus in on this endowment, that we're killing ourselves. Because you saw the calculations on the rent that Rick put together, and that's really important. But this would be the extra stuff. Somebody got
A question.
Yeah, Riley?
So with this foundation, so if we gave a scholarship out, could these scholarships be used to pay for housing? Because you can get other scholarships from other places that pay for your housing. So could we give a scholarship to individuals to help pay for some of this housing for living in this house instead of using the SIU endowment?
If it's an educational expense, I would say the answer is yes. We need to document it.
Very heavily documented, it has to be more along the lines of books and tuition. Or lab fees.
Once it's in the recipient's hands, isn't it up to him to say, oh, I used it on my rent, or I used it on my book?
So we're kind of saying the endowment covers one set of
bricks and mortar
costs, and this would cover maybe another set of costs. And people that don't want to give the endowment would be able to give to this, and would cover a couple of bases. Is that kind of what we're saying?
For the extra funds, okay, that we may need, other than the endowment.
So this isn't to replace the endowment, or
It's not to replace the endowment.
It's a separate thing to kind of.
If we don't
add-
come up with enough money to get the credit for these people to go to class, then this is another option.
Right. Okay.
I could say, I could see this as a competition for the SIU endowment also.
Motion's on the floor.
No, we don't have.
No, it's not a motion, just a
I
presentation.
just asked Dave to present this.
Okay. So, but we have motion written on the page.
Yes, if you're ready for that.
Yeah.
The first motion under this part of the meeting is a motion that Beta Alpha Alumni Association form an education foundation as a 501c3.
second.
So moved.
Riley and second.
Eric.
Okay, discussion more than we've already had.
Question.
Dave, I heard what you said, but I still am not, I'm a little fuzzy about what this foundation would do. I'm still a little fuzzy. Do you think we could get more clarity about that before we decide to move forward?
Yeah, sure, possibly, yeah.
What we would envision that universe of possible expenses to be?
Well, first of all, when we first started this, it was never, we never even thought about the using money for a house. It was to reduce the expenses of the chapter, okay, for bookkeeping.
Okay.
But this came about, and it's like, okay, we could use this money for scholarships, just like they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if somebody is in need of a scholarship, be in the house. Otherwise, you can't be in the house, you can't afford it. We can do a scholarship for that person, so they can live in the house.
And at National AGR, Ron Brohammer and others were instrumental in setting up a education scholarship there, right? Where we have $50,000+ in
We
that.
have like $500 there.
Oh,
We have like nothing there.
No,
You-
we got an education, we have.
Through national.
Through national AGR, and it's got over 50,000.
Oh, the scholarship, yes.
yes.
But the housing fund, no.
Yeah, right. No, I get that piece.
Scholarship, yes.
Yes.
Yes, we are giving out, what, Al's gone?
A couple $1,000s a year, right?
Two scholarships through,
Yeah.
AGR, and two scholarships.
It's in your financial report that's laying on the table.
I've got one. I haven't looked at it yet, buddy.
As of June 30th, it's all there.
Okay, so you have a motion on the table, to form the Beta Alpha Foundation, Education Foundation Scholarship. Is there any other questions?
We just have to be cautious that we don't position this as in competition to what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah,
Right.
agreed.
Right.
Really important.
Totally agree.
Totally agree.
How about a friendly amendment as a supplement to the SIU Foundation?
Well, I don't know how you can have a supplement to
Yeah,
it.
that would really
It-
be
it-
smarter.
It either is or it isn't.
In addition,
I look at it as an additional fundraising possibility. In other words, they're doing their fundraising,
we're
we
doing
do
ours.
ours.
Yeah, I think by nature of it and the way we market it, that's what we do. I don't know how we can do an amendment.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
I think you guys are muddying the water. Right now, we're working on getting money raised for the endowment for the housing. Save this other stuff for another year.
We've done a lot of work, and we're about ready to bring it home. I think we should proceed.
I don't have an issue with getting it set up. We've talked about this, getting it set up for years. I
If you
just
don't
think-
want to fundraise, that's up to you guys.
I just think we have to be cautious of giving the wrong impression of how we're fundraising.
Yeah.
So we're setting it up, but we just can
Set
leave
up.
it set up.
We need the 501c3
And not market it.
if they have any chance of setting this up for the
We
future.
definitely need this.
Yep.
From the work's been done, we really need to do this piece of the puzzle. It's gonna be different than the endowment, but after you get the endowment, after you get the house, then this one is gonna be a really important piece of future retention and more members and a lot of positive things, so we really need it.
So right now, it can save us money by getting it set up on the accounting software, which
That's
is
correct.
really expensive at this point.
And it could take us 9 months to get the application through the IRS. So I just wanted to get it moving so we can get it before the house is built.
I pull back my friendly amendment.
I agree with the concept, get it set up, but don't push the activity of it until this endowment campaign
Right.
is
That's-
over.
And that's fine, yep, that's fine.
Okay.
right. Now that should be an amendment.
Call for a question. So that's probably, you wanna do your amendment?
Okay,
Yes.
third time around,
Set up.
I move the question.
There'll be no
Not
fundraising.
to activate.
Yeah, but cautious that if somebody who puts money in to cover the cost of
Have to actively market it, or?
bookkeeping
not the
fees and stuff, you
Not
can still
the
use that. I mean, we just don't wanna market it as, we're all on the same page.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a vote on, now this is gonna take a hand vote, I know. So this would be the Beta Alpha Education Foundation of Alpha Gamma Rho, Inc., with the purpose of this corporation is organized exclusively for charitable, religious, educational, and scientific purposes, including for such purposes, the making of distributions to organizations that qualify as exempt organizations under 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code or corresponding section of any future federal tax code. I read that to you as that's what you're voting on setting
Applying
up
for. Applying
and how
for.
it will operate. That's not the motion. The motion is to form a Beta Alpha Alumni Association Education Foundation. All those in favor, please raise your hand and keep them up for a while, will you? What about,
I have my hand raised.
okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the screen, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
6.
11, 12, 13, 14,
It passes.
It's passed.
24. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Motion passed. Okay, the next motion for this body, and then we're done, is to appoint the first board of directors of the foundation. That has to come from the membership, and then the foundation board can work on its own. So it was suggested that we use the officers as they are now, which would be listed in this document as the board of directors: Richard Story, Richard Hyatt, Al Osterlin, Taj Davis, and Tom Meyer. There would be 5 suggested as board of directors for the Education Foundation. That needs to be a motion appointing those people to the first Education Foundation.
So moved.
Seconded. Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, so, it would start with 5 directors, and then, I believe in the document it says up to 10, right?
Yes, you did.
Well, we would start with 5, and then we would add if we needed later.
Should we maybe add Dave's name to that list?
No, I'm not gonna be on the directors.
Any discussion? Any questions?
Question.
Question is called for. Okay, so what you're doing is you're appointing the first set of directors to the Education Foundation, and I read their names to you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? That's all I have. There are a couple of
Greg,
motions,
I've got a point
but that
if
is
you
for
don't
the
care.
foundation. We got somebody, who's talking? Adam. Okay, Adam.
Yep, I've got one that I think is pretty important. I think it's pretty crucial that we pursue access to the house during breaks. I think it's important that we have 365 days a year access to the house. So I don't know if you'll accept a motion from an undergraduate. If you will, I move that our negotiating body pursues 365-day a year access to the house when negotiating terms. If not, maybe someone else could make the motion. Thank you.
I'll make the motion.
Accepted, I second.
Who made the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Riley is making.
Oh, Riley.
Wouldn't that cost a lot more money?
I'll second it.
Yeah.
Are we in discussion yet?
Yes.
Okay, so that would mean there'll be rent payments then for those people staying in the house for the summer.
Additional rent payments.
If there are people living there, I think it's important that we have the option to. That's kind of what I think is important.
I think I agree, okay, but
'Cause
then there would have to be, I mean, they're gonna charge rent, so. Just so you know that, okay, your academic year is 9 months, okay, it's not gonna include the summer.
Question, okay? Adam, what you're getting at, would this allow you as the recruiter to tour the house with new students?
Absolutely. The way the dorms work right now is, at least on Thompson Point, when you're outside of academic hours, and I'm not just talking about summer break, on winter break, if you live in the dorms, your key fob will not allow you to get in the building, so you cannot have access to your room, even though you will live there in the fall and in the spring. You can't get in there in the winter. I think that's problematic. It's the same case for Thanksgiving break and the same case for spring break. Those in particular, I think, are important, let alone summer break where we want to give tours of the house.
That could all be arranged.
I mean, can we just add this, instead of making a separate motion out of this, just add this to our 2 committees, finance and housing, to negotiate that for the group? And just add that. I've got it on my list here to negotiate that point, and we'll come back with, what possibilities there are, and let you know, and as the board, and then we can vote on it at that point.
For recruiting purposes,
perfect for me.
For recruiting purposes, that's probably a lot more important than his basement.
I mean,
access.
I've got that on my list, and I'll happily accept all information that you want us to help negotiate. I mean, we talked about a few, but if you come up with ideas that you want these 2 committees to negotiate, get them to us as soon as possible, so that we know what we're gonna discuss.
They're probably gonna say they
So the
want the
motion
RA
we
to
made
be there
second.
before anybody gets in there.
The motion was made and seconded.
Oh.
Okay, or withdraw.
All right, all those in favor of, negotiating access to the house 365 days, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, pass.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Story, that's all I have.
That's all I have. All right. There's been a motion to adjourn.
Just adjourned.
All right, motion, meeting's adjourned.
All right. Hey, you guys up there, thanks a
Thank
million.
you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a million.
Thanks very much.